we're live, then we'll be good.
At normal.
Normal.
Maybe.
You guys live stream yours?
Of course.
Just checking.
Works. Fulton County ID did a nice job the other day, live streaming theirs.
Doing the
We
moment
good?
of silence.
Okay.
That's one.
Go ahead, Chair.
All right, so I'd like to call to order the audit committee for the Montgomery County IDA. Our first business is to go over the audit reports from Weston Company. Mike, you want to? Yeah, thank you.
So you have two reports in front of you, schedule of investments and the basic financial statements. Schedule of investments required by the ABO. Page 1 has our opinion. Again, it's the first thing in the report now. That's a change in this year's audits. And we say that it's an unmodified opinion, clean opinion, highest opinion we have as a profession. You go to page 3, you see that we have no investments. And that is because all of our money is in money markets and they are considered a cash equivalent, just like a CD may be a cash equivalent. So if we had like a 10-year treasury bond, something of that nature, then that would be an investment and that would come over to page 3. How's that? Thank you. So anyway, you know, this is required by the ABO. We did it, we've audited it, it will get uploaded to the Paris report and we will comply with the schedule of investments as required. Again, the Montgomery County IDA is very restricted in what they can actually invest in. It would be FDIC insured or treasury backed items. Then we have the basic financial statements for the Montgomery County IDA. Again, our opinion is on page 1. Goes over to page 2 and 3, but at the top of page 1, we say that the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects. That is a clean opinion, unmodified opinion. Then, because this is a government, GASB says that you have to have a management discussion and analysis. This came about almost 20 years ago now, and it gives the reader a lot of background on the agency, and it allows the agency to actually put in items that they're working on. So the reader of the financial statement can have a better understanding of the organization. And here again, Ken has added a lot of language between pages 6, 7, and 8, discusses each of the activities that are happening during the year, all of the projects that are going on. And the last thing in the MD&A shows the completed projects. After the MD&A, we have our financial statements. They start on page 13. And this says statement of net position on page 13. And this is nothing more than a balance sheet. But in governmental accounting, you have to call it a statement of net position. And you can see that we have cash, 1.2 million, restricted cash, 939,000, some receivables, and then a large asset for our fixed assets. And our fixed assets here are not tables and chairs and computers. their parks. So it's the investment into the Glen Park, the investment into the Florida Park makes up the majority of that $2 million investment. Then you see a large liability due to other governments. We owe Montgomery County money for the projects, the parks that we've been building up, and those get paid down as projects happen. And then we have restricted
Let me just,
Okay.
and that one, just in the Glen Park, just so you guys are aware.
in the Glen Park.
In the Glen
The
Park.
Florida Park is 295, right? Liability.
Yes, correct.
So in the net position is the remainder of the assets minus the liability. And you can see that we have about $2.3 million in net position. After that, on page 14, it's a statement of activities at the top. This would be an income statement. So overall, the agency spent about $230,000 this year, took in about $114,000. And you see that we had a net change in position of minus 116,000. This is typical in all the IDAs that we audit because you'll be setting up a project, you'll be spending money on marketing, you'll be spending money on, professional services with engineers. Then you'll get a project and you'll get an administrative fee or pilot fees or sales tax fees. So all of that will contribute to the revenue down the road. So our net change in position was minus 116 for the year. After that, we have several pages of footnotes to the financial statement. And on page 18, note 5 does list out the $2 million. And you can see the first one is the Florida Park for about $1,063,000, the Glen Park for $934,000. That is really the majority of our fixed assets. Then if we were to go further into the notes, note 10 on page 20. This is the due to other governments. These are the balances that we had at December 31st, 2021. And you can see the different balances that we owed to Montgomery County. Then on page 21 and 22, because this is a governmental audit, GASB requires us in all yellow book audits to have a second opinion in the financial statements. And this is an opinion over financial reporting and compliance issues. And here again, it's an unmodified opinion. There are no compliance issues. There's no material journal entries that are made. Sheila, Ken, the staff, they do a great job getting everything together for us, and the audit goes very smoothly. So there is no breakdown over financial reporting. And then the last thing that is in the financial statements is a code of ethics. That's on page 23 and 24. ABO requires that to be attached. And then page 25, we don't have this in other financial statements that we do governments, but in IDAs, it's here. Ken and Sheila actually sign the form and say that to the best of their knowledge that everything in here is true and accurate. And then this by 3/31 also gets uploaded to the Paris report to complete the year for the IDA. Yes.
All right, on page 13, we go back to the assets. 1.2 cash, but 939,000 is restricted. Is that restricted because of things like beach nuts?
Yes.
So if you actually go to page 18 at the bottom, there's a footnote on the restricted cash, and it just says it's for the MVP bank property list and USDA accounts. It's described a little bit more in detail on that.
Part of that, most of that's the MC3.
Okay, so is that saying we only have $300,000 cash?
No, you have 2 point, whatever the total of the two is. Hold on.
But right now, until we free up the MC3, which is what our attorneys are working on, it'll free up a big chunk of that restricted.
Bob, if you go to page 15, I skipped it because it's not a very exciting schedule,
Well, good thing I brought it up.
but it's the statement of cash flows.
Yeah.
So the statement of cash flows takes you from what happened in the agency to your beginning cash and then the change in your ending cash. So overall cash at the beginning of the year was 2,380,000. At the end of the year, it was 2,175,000. That would be the total of the 1.2 unrestricted and the 939 restricted. So that's $2.1 million. And hopefully, as Ken said, Some of that's going to get freed up. And this year,
It's gonna be freed up at the end of the lease in 2025, or is that's something?
No, it's more of a detailed transaction than that. We've been talking about it for several years now with Hopkins.
Joe Scott is still working on that one.
Right. Yep. Thank you.
but it's gonna happen.
It will.
22 years now, so we haven't.
How many years?
17.
Listen, that's not my account.
I guarantee you in 5 years and 6 months, it'll be taken care of.
No, I'm just saying.
But no, honestly, they're taking many steps over the last couple of years to get to the position where it may be able to be freed up. Welcome.
Any other questions? Amanda, any questions?
Nothing here.
Can we have a motion then to,
Accept, to pass on to the whole board to accept both the investment report and the basic financial report.
so we need a motion to pass on a positive recommendation on both the schedule of investments and the basic financial statements.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Second, Cheryl, all in favor? Guys, anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. And I think that's all we needed for the audit committee for the IDA. Can we have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion.
Motion, second by Cheryl, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, anyone opposed? Perfect. Audit committee is closed.
And